Hello everyone, this is Persephone and this is going to be a very magical video. Ever since I started making videos about the law of attraction, I have many of you asking me, so today we're going to move on to a bit more advanced stuff. I don't want you to be scared and I want you to remember one thing. Even if you never want to practice anything that has to do with witchcraft, even if you don't like it, even if you're against it, it's always very useful to know the signs for self-defense. To know so you can recognize when someone is doing something to you and act accordingly to protect yourself, okay? So it doesn't mean that you have to be a spellcaster or you want to be a witch or whatever to watch what I'm saying. Just keep it at the back of your head because you never know who is going to decide to try to do something to you, okay? Before we start, let me remind you two basic things. Thing number one is that all kinds of witchcraft are essentially energy manipulation. Think it of the law of attraction before the law of attraction was even a trending thing, okay? So you don't have to have a specific religion to practice witchcraft. There are different witches who have different religions, but you don't need to have one. Another thing is that you don't need to be calling demons, summoning demons, be demon possessed and so on. This is a very dangerous type. Very few people attempt to do it and I wouldn't recommend. Usually, if you're going to get harmed, it's going to be by something that's lower level than, oh my god, there is a demon in my backyard, someone summoned it. And third is, when we refer to black magic, it has to do with things that we do for someone else and we're usually getting paid. And things that we do for personal gain. Things that you do to help other people or other beings or animals for free are white magic or light magic. There are people who don't believe in this difference, but personally I do, so I'm sharing it with you. So, how do you know if someone has put a love spell on you? Or if you are the one who casted the love spell, how do you know that the love spell is working? Okay, I'm saying that because I stumble upon many people all the time who are saying they're victims of narcissistic abuse and they're like, I hate this person, yet I can't stop calling them, or I don't want to be with this person, yet I feel this irresistible bond with them. Are they my soulmates? And so on. I fully accept the scientific element, which is trauma bonding, Stockholm syndrome, all of that stuff that we talk about on my videos about narcissism. But there is also a very spiritual element to it. And to be more practical, I'm going to tell you, if I had $1 every time I knew a narcissist practicing witchcraft and practicing black magic, I would be a millionaire. Especially when it comes to women and women from specific cultures who promote witchcraft, you would be shocked. You just don't want to know the extent of that happening. It's very common, especially in cultures who have a lot of arranged marriages, for a woman or multiple females in your family to do witchcraft on a man to break off his engagement with another woman and take them for the woman that they have in their family. And usually those marriages end up terribly. I told you that it's very bad in my previous video to override someone else's will, but it's still very common. So you may be a victim of it and not even know it. And if I'm going to separate love spells into two categories, I'm going to tell you there is a harmless category and there is a deadly category. Deadly love spells, okay? The harmless one is you have someone who is already somewhat interested in you and you give them a little push to make them propose, make them come to you, and so on. That's not really bad for me. It's not going to add in your karma in a negative way. For example, you have a man who is dating you for 3 years or for 4 years and you want to make him propose and he's not proposing, so he's already in love with you, but maybe he's had divorced parents, he doesn't feel like very strongly about marriage, or maybe he's having like cold feet. Those things happen. I'm not going to judge you or tell you that it's a bad thing to do a love spell to make him feel more desire for you or make him want to propose or whatever and get your goal met, okay? Because you're not essentially overriding his will. He already wanted you, you just take things to the next step faster. That's the cool category of love spells and no one's going to judge you, seriously, except someone such a prude or very religious and so on. Our problem is the second category, the deadly love spell. And if you say, why are you saying deadly? You'll see. In the deadly love spell, you are being targeted, or you target someone if you are the spellcaster. I'm using the term spellcaster because I don't want to say witch, which like makes us think of only female pronouns. Anyone can practice witchcraft. You can be male, female, trans, gay, and so on. Okay, so I'm just going to say spellcaster for now because you could be gay and you want to do it to your boyfriend or to your girlfriend or to a trans person. So you are in love with the person, or you target the person because of their money, because of their position, which is even worse. And the person doesn't even know you exist, or they know you and they don't like you, or if they knew you, they wouldn't be interested in you. And you decide to cast a love spell on them to have them no matter what. That is going to be something like a domino effect, and it's going to cause a series of consequences that it ends with the person dying. I'm saying it right now. If someone does a love spell like that to you, and there are going to be so many professionals who are going to say to you that come to me and you're going to pay me and I'm going to break it for you and so on. Personally, I don't believe in that. If you have the signs that I'm saying, you can always try it, but I've never seen it working. And I've seen a lot of crazy paranormal shit. I've never seen it working, and you have three solutions, in my opinion. Solution number one is, okay, we're not going to count death as a solution. Either you have to find the signs very early on and be magically resistant, like know how to protect yourself or to stop something from happening or to cleanse yourself when it's the initial stages, because this is like a soul cancer. Or somehow the spellcaster has to be convinced to stop their own spell, stop quote unquote. Okay, once you start it, you cannot exactly stop it, but it can be resolved with their cooperation, or somehow your resolve has to be so strong that you're going to overcome it after you realize what has happened to you, which is the most rare case, still not impossible, and we're going to be positive on this video. Okay, signs of a deadly love spell. Sign number one, very, very crucial. You're attracted to someone who is not your type. If you're one of those people that you generally have a type, let's say you like curvy, redhead women, and all of a sudden you're attracted to a very skinny, tomboy type of woman. I'm not saying that the second type is like uglier than the first type. No, I'm just trying to make a contradiction here, that you find yourself attracted to a person that they're not your type, or you met them and you really didn't like them at all at first. They gave you off something very negative. You wouldn't even see yourself as a friend to them, and all of a sudden you start feeling this irresistible attraction. Okay, that's something that it has never even happened to you in most cases. Sign number two is the person starts appearing everywhere, appearing in a symbolic sense, not in a stalking sense. That if, let's say, a woman likes a specific band and is wearing t-shirts of that band, you may start seeing other people wearing it, or the band is appearing on TV more. And other signs that usually they're good signs, for example, when you try to manifest a car with a law of attraction and you see that car everywhere, but in this case, you're not trying to manifest the band or the woman or whatever is appearing to remind you of her all the time. Or of the man, like I said, it could be anyone casting any type of spell. You are experiencing, another sign, signs of like being love struck, but something feels off and wrong. You can't sleep, you can't eat, you can't concentrate, and people are going to say, oh my God, you're so much in love. But you feel anxiety, you feel something ominous around you. You start having panic attacks and you never had them before. You start feeling very stressed and you don't know why. To the point that they are actually trying to break up a marriage or a relationship, all of a sudden your partner feels repulsive. You lose all of your interest in them. You lose all of your sexual desire for them. You start fighting them. You start thinking of ditching them to be with the other person, and that may go completely against your morals, and you feel like your world is collapsing and you don't know why, and that person seems to be the solution. It seems that if you are with them, things are going to be fixed. Whatever you're going through or whatever you went through in your past is going to start healing. Your productivity is crumbling. You don't have anything going right. If you have a job, you lose it, or if you are bad at it. Friends and family started thinking that you turned insane, something is wrong with you, and you don't know what's going on here. You don't know what's going on, and you don't know why from time to time you feel very opposite emotions for the person. For example, something like borderline people feel, but much more amplified. You may feel intense love for the person, and you may feel intense hate hours later. Or you start fantasizing about killing the person or dying with the person, or things that you never have felt before when you were in love, and they further add up to your feeling that you're crazy, that you're turning crazy, you're going to have a horrible end, and that amplifies your stress. Those are all signs that someone is overriding your will, okay? Now, before you say, oh my God, I have all of them, or oh my God, I have some of them. A lot of them overlap with mental illness, and a lot of them overlap with normally being love-struck, because, we're human beings, we fall in love. There is one sign that personally for me, if you came to me and you asked me, am I cursed, am I borderline, or am I in love? I would say that's the telltale sign, okay? That if you have that, immediately my mind goes that over 95% chance someone has casted a deadly love spell on you. That is, in any case of normal love, whatever passion you're feeling, whatever turmoil you're feeling, it eventually starts to fade. With the passage of time, it starts to fade. And same with mental illness. As someone who has multiple mental illnesses that I have myself, let me tell you, you always have some good days. You always have some days that whatever obsession you have, intrusive thoughts, PTSD, some days are better than others, okay? When it comes to that love spell, your passion, your anger, and your hatred gets stronger with time. Imagine it's something like wine. Like wine becomes stronger and more refined with time. All of your feelings, the more the love spell continues to act inside you, the more your feelings become stronger. So that's a sign that this is something, not just, oh wow, you just fell for the wrong person, or oh wow, you're just being mentally ill. And this is something that if it takes years and you're still in that situation, it's time for an intervention, okay? Before you're asking me, what am I supposed to do now? Oh my God, I have all the signs. I want to tell you what led you to you being susceptible and how do you protect yourself. Because the first and foremost thing we need to think is prevention, okay? How to not get caught into that. I'm going to say what I always say. The more strong-willed you are, the more clear things are inside your psyche, the less susceptible you are to all kinds of love spells, all kinds of curses, and so on. Usually people who are targeted by love spells are people who live very fake lives. They're not honest with each other, they're not honest with themselves, which is the most important. That's why they become vulnerable to someone else who comes with a strong will to influence them. So the first thing you need to do, even if you're under the love spell or before, to protect yourself, is to sit down with yourself, calm down, and ask, who am I? What do I want? What am I really attracted to? And discover yourself. Because let me tell you something. The more knowledge one has for themselves, the more powerful their magic becomes. So a person who is obsessed with you, a person who wants you for themselves and spends time every day to meditate on that, to wish, to manifest it, versus a confused person or a partner who is with you for many years and they have become lukewarm and they're living Groundhog Day, you're no match for this person. And you'll never be a match for this person unless you become painfully honest with yourself. And I say this because I believe that even inside the greatest tragedy, there is huge opportunity, as long as you know where to find it. So if someone is coming to your life to destroy it with such force, the question is, why was your life so weak to begin with? So maybe instead of just sitting there and let them destroy it, you should just demolish it by yourself and build a real one that is not going to be so easy to penetrate with magic. Okay, of course that's way easier said than done, but anyway, the first step is trying to think of enemies. Do you have someone that may have had a reason to do that, or to pay someone to do that for you? Because love spells are also being used as revenge tools by some people. If the answer is no, I don't have anyone, let's look into other types of curses or spells. Do you have narcissists in your family? Do you have people that they may have cursed you? Do you have people that may have a generational curse? Someone cursing you to be unlucky in love, or someone who gave you bad karma, or you giving yourself bad karma? If the answer is yes to that, there is a pretty high chance that plays a part in you being targeted not just once but over and over. Okay. And the first step to solving any problem is awareness of the problem. Have you done something to anger the spellcaster? Have you done something to insult them? Did they confess to you and you rejected them? Did you laugh at them? Did you do anything to create all of this anger and all of this negative frequency towards you? If the answer is yes, or if the answer is I've been a horrible person in general, it's time to start by making amends and clearing up your karma. I'm not just saying to be fake and go to the person and fakely apologize and stuff like that. I'm just saying your change needs to start from within. First of all, come to the realization that someone got you. Okay, you lost the first battle doesn't mean you're going to lose the war. And every time you're having those obsessive thoughts, use your own will to override them. I believe that the most effective thing to counter any kind of spell is the human mind. It starts from the human mind. I could start saying to you, you need this potion and you're going to need hair from a black cat and hair from a black dog and dancing at the moon and a bunch of other shit that even if you try to do them, if you're a noob, you're going to end up with a demon in your backyard accidentally. Let's start fighting someone's will with your own will for self-protection. So every time you think about the person and you start obsessing over the person, ground yourself. Sit down with yourself and think, this is probably some form of magic attack. I can actually fight this and win, okay? Sooner or later, especially if you meditate, if you use neuro-linguistic programming, grounding techniques and stuff like that, you're going to notice that there are moments where it gets weaker. Another thing that you can do is, like I said, together with self-knowledge, together with grounding yourself, you can always reach out to people that you have harmed, or if that's impossible, let's say that people want no contact with you, start being a better person in general and add some good karma, do some good deeds. Because from my experience, people who are targeted with spells and curses are usually horrible people to begin with. They're very selfish people, they insult everyone, they walk over other people, and eventually they piss off the wrong person who either pays a professional or curses them themselves, because you don't need to actually know advanced witchcraft to curse someone or to give someone a love spell. You just need to have extremely strong emotions towards them for a long time and to keep obsessing over them and wishing them ill, and it's going to manifest. So if you can't fix the mess you created, try to create positive karma. But I'm telling you, your best bet in this chance is to actually make amends with a spellcaster. Now you're going to say, Persephone, what are you talking about? I want nothing to do with the psycho who's trying to get me killed. You're absolutely right, but like I said, your best chance is for the spellcaster to stop manifesting whatever they're manifesting, because if this continues, you will end up dead. There are plenty of cases of people with love spells that they lost everything and eventually they killed themselves or they died from a terminal illness and so on. I'm not saying you should give in and be a sock puppet for the person who actually casted the love spell, but if you have found yourself already, if you found this video too late and you already did everything to go live with them or something like that, try to understand where they're coming from, try to understand their situation, and try to not exactly sympathize, but to not have extremely negative emotions back. Because if this continues to happen and you have extremely negative emotions back and you try to curse them back or you try to harm them, this is going to amplify their curse on you and you're going to be the one losing. This sounds very strange coming from you, with the channel being Revenge Star and revenge and all that, but I believe that it's equally stupid to go around asking for fights and to perpetuate a fight that you're not going to win. I'm telling you that if someone has experience and does this all of their lives, you're not going to win, especially if your karma has been extremely low and your frequency is negative or you're completely ignorant and so on. It's better just to resolve things peacefully. If you're going to say, what about the person who's casting all of this shit on me? What is going to happen to them? Well, they are going to meet their own horrible end eventually. You know, there is this law of magic that says whatever happens to you comes back threefold to them. So if you curse you once to suffer, they're going to suffer 3 times more than you in the future, in this lifetime, not in some other lifetime necessarily. The thing is, what you need to understand, and I emphasize greatly on that, is that by the time someone has casted a love spell, the problem is already existing and it's huge. So it's better to prevent it from happening and to stop it from happening once and for all by changing yourself. Because if, let's say, you have a very clear type of person you're attracted to, if you are a decent person yourself, if you have strong boundaries and you enforce them, it's not going to work on you. There are so many people who are being cursed. I'm one of those people that I believe my mother is cursing me every day, even now. I believe my mother-in-law is cursing me every day, even now. Their will combined cannot overpower my will alone, because I know exactly who I am and exactly who I want. There is a person that my mother cursed and the person died. And this happened 2 months ago. I found out that they got into a car crash and they burned alive to death. I kid you not, it was even on the news and it was horrific. But that guy was an ignorant guy and he didn't have a strong will. So yeah, I'm sorry if that sounds scary. There are people who can curse you and you can burn to death. So what I'm saying is that start by understanding who you are and what you want. Because sometimes, and I say this and many people are not going to like it, but I said I'm going to give real information to people, no bullshit information, and real information can be dark. Sometimes our own subconscious energy and our own self-destructiveness attracts this type of person into our lives. For example, if someone hates their life, okay, and deep down would wish they could change it. And to use an example from my own life experience, white worshipping Asian man. Let's say there is someone who is white worshipping and he would want to be with a white woman or a non-Asian woman all of his life, but he doesn't have the balls to do that. He doesn't have the balls to stand up to his Asian female relatives. He doesn't have the balls to actually go after white women or after the women that he wants. He also is too lazy to do the work on the inside and on the outside to make himself an attractive partner. So he sits there, okay, he sits there in a boring relationship with an Asian woman or as an incel, and he wishes someone came to save him, or someone came to actually take him and run away, or something like that. If you wish unclear garbage like that, it's like you're saying to the universe, send me the next thing, send me the closest thing that is going to destroy all that for me and free me. Okay, that's what you're saying to the universe, because remember, in the law of attraction, what we wish for has to be specific. I want someone to save me. To wish that is recipe for disaster, because how do you know that the person who saves you is going to be kind? You're going to say in Korean dramas, the guy who saves you is always kind. Yeah, in Korean dramas. Usually the universe sends us the closest thing. Okay, so if the closest thing is a person who actually knows black magic and targets you, maybe they're going to get rid of everything for you by making you obsessed with that. So in a symbolical sense, they save you. So are you really honest with yourself about what you want in your life? Maybe you didn't want that marriage very much to begin with. Maybe you didn't want that life very much to begin with. Those are not easy questions to answer. Because I'm telling you, you cannot seduce someone who doesn't want to be seduced deep down. Essentially, what people who practice witchcraft do is they cultivate seeds that the target already has inside them. Okay, if it was a 0.000% chance for someone to not want it, they wouldn't have been able to attract it, or they would resist it. Especially for love spells who persist for years, your own energy is somewhat compatible with the spellcaster's energy. And I'm saying that if you're someone who is watching me and is casting those spells, your target hating you is a great sign that the love spell is working. Because the opposite of love isn't hatred, it's indifference, as we all know. Of course, you're going to say, okay, Persephone, they hate me, what am I going to do now? Well, now that you also have created this mess by overriding someone else's will, things are pretty green. There is not a one-fits-all strategy on what to do. I would say leave them alone. For the most part, leave them alone to sort out their own mess, and you learn from what happened to you and stop doing witchcraft on people who don't want you or people who don't have the balls to be with you. Okay, give it a break. If you see that energy is getting out of control, give it a break, because if you continue and persist, then you may end up with a kind of passion crime that says, I'm going to kill you and then myself, and I don't even know why if you truly sit down and ask me. Okay, these are not normal situations. And if you observe science, you will see that Even science says, I was looking at an article today in a scientific magazine about the evil eye, a different perspective, because science can help us to a degree, but after some degree, it cannot explain some things who are happening and why they're happening. So if you want to learn something from this video, let's sum this up. Signs that you're under a love spell. Attracted to someone who is not your type. Attracted to someone that you disliked intensely at first, and all of a sudden afterwards you're obsessed with them. No one else seems attractive but that person. You fantasize about them, they appear in your sleep, you want to masturbate thinking about them. You see signs that remind you of them everywhere. You feel strong hatred for them and strong love for them, and then strong hatred again, and you're freaking exhausted. Your productivity is shit, your eating and sleeping is shit. Everyone around you soon starts having a problem with you. If you're having an affair with a person, then people are judging you, you couldn't care less, you're still going to continue, or you promise to change and then you continue interacting with the person in secret. Depending on the intensity of the love spell and the duration of the love spell, there are cases that run away to be with that person, there are cases who committed suicide. In general, it ends when you die. And I'm going to be the devil's advocate here and say, there is always if you can't beat them, join them. So, if you have sat down to close this video and you have done your self-examination and you are at fault, or deep down you're always attracted to the spellcaster or to the type that the spellcaster was, and you couldn't even admit it to yourself because it goes against everything you preach in public. That is very, very common in gay and lesbian relationships, that someone is very homophobic, someone is very religious and hates homosexuals, and deep down you know that there is not a bigger homophobe than the closeted homosexual. He pisses off the wrong gay person and they do a love spell on them that brings out the hidden desire they have for people of the same gender. So if you find out that maybe you would be better off giving in, you know what I'm saying. If you can't beat them, join them. At the end of the day, I want you to leave the situation at least with your life, okay? And whether we like it or not, there are messes that we cannot recover from. If it has been years, if it has been too late, if you have been a shitty person all of your life and you need to become a cyborg and spend 250 years volunteering to make up for your bullshit, then count your blessings that you're still alive and try to work things out with the person you feel intense love and intense hatred for. And if you don't kill each other, well, I don't know. You know how those things, even if you don't end up happy, you end up a movie usually. I could count so many movies that people are in reality under love spells and not in love. But this is a topic for a different video. I can show you examples and you're going to be creeped out. At least you're going to have a much, much more intense and exciting, even though most likely short-lived life, compared to a person who is just living day after day after day, waiting for something that's never going to happen. Okay? Thank you for watching.